One is to share a little bit about the importance of the work that all of you are doing, helping us to spread the message, and how are we running the whole investment in our agni and community media. And for those of you, if there's anyone here representing any mainstream media, also this is a commitment of this administration led by Mayor Eric Adams to acknowledge that we all have, most of our people, even those who are asylum seekers, when they go to the store, they buy and they pay taxes. And they go to a restaurant and they also pay taxes. So everyone deserves to be informed in their own languages on all the information that, with all languages, hundreds that all New Yorkers speak together. So for me, it's a great opportunity. One, again, we're focusing on sharing a little bit about, how we do it, this work, how we make decisions, and how we are so committed to continue identifying different venues, from blog to radio to TV to newspaper to a sport institution to for the message to be spread across all venues possible. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is about, and what is the purpose of this campaign? The one about speeding, ruin life is slow down. And why we expect you hope more than, about, we spend some dollars and those dollars translate into a numbers of spot that you can put it, and numbers of announcement that you can, that we can have in radio, TV, but more than that, we want for everyone here to help us to be ambassadors of this campaign. So that when you speak, please help us as you do your weekly program to talk about it, why a reckless drivers is an epidemic that is hurting our city, and how we feel that we can eradicate it. So those are the two things that we want, and then we're going to be showing a little bit about the different part of the campaign. So first thing, we had a great team led by, Nick, who oversees everything that we do from press, responding to any inquiry from press, also working with different venue on particular story that anyone is interested in. Also highlighting what is DOT. That's, he been taking very personal to lead the effort in this agent that already is producing. We know someone that work in our bridges, that work paving the street, that work in starting on a ferry, that work maintaining the 44,000 intersections that we have in New York City. We know someone that unfortunately lost, a beautiful boy or girl, son, daughter, mom. One of the last one, victim that we have in these speeding, reckless drivers is the lady who was working. She was ready to go to work at 5:30 in the morning to clean in one of those clothing stores in the Upper East Side. When the drivers, was so fast, that in a matter of seconds, he took away the life of that beautiful lady, 70 or 75, 77 years old, is still gonna work because she needed to support her family. So, this is, again, we want to share a little bit about why this Vision Zero campaign is so important. And the third one is about, for you to know that you only have access to us. So we had a great team, again, led by Nick here, who is with us. We had a great office, the mayors of Agni Community Media. I gotta say, it was my bill. I passed a bill as a council member, and I got Mayor Eric Adams as the Brooklyn Board President to be the co-sponsor, and I was with Jose Bayona working with the language of that bill. But when we would not be commissioner anymore, I want to leave the structure in place that twice a year, that DOT will meet with all the Agni community media and the mainstream media, that you keep the pressure on me and future commissioner. So this is more than one person, decision. So that's one for you to be proud of that. First of all, in this administration led by Mayor Eric Adams, our commitment again to include all community. We say Staten Island is not the forgotten border anymore. You know, working class communities are not the forgotten communities anymore. Community that speak that English is not the first language, is not the forgotten communities anymore. I'm the result of those communities. I came here to wash dishes. And you heard me say before, in this building, I used to work in the cafeteria doing sandwiches in my second jobs. So, and I still live in the east part of Broadway in Inwood since I arrived there in June 1983 at the age of 18. So I know what it is to come from the bottom. I know what it was to be a student organizing at City College. I know what it was then to put myself, after coming back from Food and Dash in Shanghai, you know, when I did my last semester, come back and be a teacher, you know, for 15 years. So what I've been able to do is to transfer all the previous knowledge in my role. So before being a commissioner, I used to chair the Committee of Transportation for 8 years, or the 12 years that I served as a council member. So we are here, again, working hard to leave DOT in a better place. We moved the number, or NWBE, from 11% that the agency was providing before I got here in January 1st, 2022, to 24% today. But this is not my goal. This is the goal of Mayor Eric Adams. He committed to put $25 billion by 2026 in the hand of women and minority. So those of you who are running any blog, any newspaper, please help us to spread out those information to people who already are building, to people who are great plumbers, carpenters, electricians, those who are small company, they also should look for opportunity at DOT. Go to DOT website, look for doing business at DOT, and you will always be, if you sign in or if you let your members who follow you, your media, they will always get information about any opportunity or RFP. So again, in closure, because I want to leave one time, I promised my team that I wouldn't be speaking so long. So this campaign is about educating drivers. We only have 1.9 million New Yorkers who have vehicles in New York City. Some of them, they have 2 cars, some have 3. Some people have a car, they buy the car, they use it 3 days a week, and they park the car in the street. And they fight because they want to keep the space to park the car. And they believe that the street belongs to people that own car. Well, those of us who came here in the 80s, remember Broadway and 42nd Street? When that used to be a storage of vehicle? You never thought that that same area will be the venue where Shakira held a concert of 40,000 people enjoying her music. So Quisqueya Plaza, Corona Plaza, places that used to be only dedicated to vehicle, have been transformed as common area. We are reimagining the use of public space. So this campaign again is one, educating drivers. Be safe. No one wants to be, in a crash where you don't know what to do after you hit someone. If you drive at 25 miles per hour, which is the speed limit in New York City, as a driver, you will have more visibility. As a driver, you'll be able to stop to reduce the speed. And then you will be able to protect yourself, and most important, to protect the most vulnerable, the children, the senior citizen. So that's the message, and that's what this campaign is all about. So the second part is about educating our great brothers and sisters. Let's share the street. Let's not rush. People come with all the excuses. Well, this is a constitutional right. No one had to tell me. Who said that? When did you find in the Constitution that you on the street? The street is a public access. And third, we also want for you to help us to educate our people about the benefit of walking and biking. I was born in 1965 in a campo, in a countryside in DR, where my father had a bike, una 28 porque rifaba. I used to be a tall bike, 28. And then our people, many of us New Yorkers, the working class, we've been told that biking is only for gentrification because they want to change the community. And 2023, we have 200 million bike trips in our city. You cannot deny the rule, right? You cannot say, no, why would they doing bike lane? Why? So you don't know that there's 200 million bike trips in the city? That moved from 98 million trips that we have in 2009. So when we talk about Vision Zero, it's about slow down, protect pedestrians and cyclists. It's protecting your soul, it's protecting your New Yorkers who walk, and it's also protecting those who use the bike. The street being changed. How many of you place order through Amazon, UPS, FedEx? Raise your hand. None? Few people? So those of you who raise your hand, and if you don't, you get your daughter to, because I know that's what happened too. La abuela dice al nieto, ordéname estos tenis por Amazon. If we are not those who are into the internet, then you ask our grandchildren. I ask my daughter, can you please order this for me? It's like 80% of New Yorkers are ordering once a week. 22%, they're ordering 4 times a week. So New York City has changed. And then we had to organize the street to respond to the market. How many of you place order food for a restaurant, from a restaurant? Only 2 people order food in the restaurant? Only 2, right? And sometimes when we order through Uber, right? And he say, okay, if you pay $10 additional, instead of getting you delivered in 20 minutes, you can get it in 7. We pay 2, right? Yeah. Well, we are the one putting pressure to do delivery workers to go fast in the sidewalk. Because it's the market. It's how the market is moving. So we at DOT are responsible to manage 27% of the land of New York City. Our roadway, our sidewalk, our bus lane, our bike lane, our pedestrian plaza, our open street, our summer street, our car-free Earth Day. And as someone that education, being a teacher was my background, I never thought that I would be embracing transportation as so important equalizer for everyone. So on the major items, we are looking at equity. So we are also investing, building more raised crosswalk. We committed to improve safety in 2,000, improving safety intersection. 1,000 of those will be daylighting. We've seen more the Queens Boulevard, right? The Boulevard of the dead, 25 dead before. Now there's no dead in Queens Boulevard. That's because we invested. So again, this campaign is part of Vision Zero. The 3E of Vision Zero, one is engineer. So we had a great hundreds members in the planning division led by Eric Victon, who do all the work, redesigning our streets to make it safe. Second E is about educational. I know that you can help us, right? I know that when you take your microphone, I know that when you do your social media, yes, you can put the ad that we send you, right? But what I convince my team is that I know that you can help us more than that, right? That you can help us to be the voice in our program, speak about it. If you go to the church, if you go to any interfaith, talk to your faith leader. Tell him to please, can you take 1 minute to call drivers to slow down? If we do that, it's very simple. It doesn't take much, but it will allow for us to eradicate an epidemic that unfortunately is taking the life of so many family members or so many loved ones in the city of New York. We are doing a lot of progress. In the 80s, the United States had the highest numbers of pedestrian fatality since the 80s to today. Last year, we had the lowest numbers of pedestrian fatality of the last 110 years. Except 2020 in the Yoko. So with that, I just wanted to give you some, broader perspective of why this campaign is so important, but I also most important one for you to ask you to be part of this great team of people from government to you and media to help us. It doesn't matter if you are one of those main media, if you are one of the small one, everyone can contribute to be sure that when you go to sleep, you know that you made an important contribution because you spread the message to drivers. slow down, protect pedestrians and cyclists.
Thank you. We have a brief slideshow that I'm going to go over fairly briefly. So again, as the commissioner mentioned, you guys play a very important role in what we do as public servants. And so in a city made up of over 8 million residents who communicate in as many as 800 languages, it is our responsibility and our duty as public servants to get the right message to all New Yorkers across the city. And so for DOT, educating the public on the ground and through our marketing campaigns has played a crucial role in making our streets safer for all New Yorkers. Since 2014, DOT has made over 7,000 visits to schools and older adult centers. We have helped train over 200,000 taxi and limousine and MTA operators on defensive driving and passenger safety, among much more. Our educational outreach does not stop there. Our Speeding Ruins Lives campaign has been translated into 12 languages and on average receives hundreds of millions of impressions per season. We first launched this campaign in 2022 during the spring and fall, aligning with historically dangerous crash seasons. So we recently launched, and so this is an image that we had in 2022 where we announced it with the mayor, as well as baseline funding, which allows us to again run this campaign both in the spring and the fall, which historically has been the time that we see some of the highest crashes and fatalities around the city. And then these are some of the locations where we have the Speeding Ruins Lives campaign. This was last year, but this year we're going to continue seeing a lot more placed around the city. And so we've also recently launched our latest e-bike public awareness campaign to promote the safe use of e-bikes. Our goal with the Get Smart Before You Start campaign, e-bikes campaign, is to help e-bike users, particularly less experienced users, understand how to safely accelerate, navigate, brake, and avoid ending up in vehicle blind spots. And so we've been very intentional in the areas where we are placing these campaigns. And the goal, again, is to ensure e-bike users see this on the streets and while they're commuting. All of our campaigns have been data-driven to address citywide problems. And so, for example, when data showed an uptick in speeding post-COVID, we launched our Speeding Ruins Lives campaign to help educate the public on the dangers of reckless driving. Last year, we saw an alarming spike in e-bike fatalities, and so we immediately addressed it the issue by implementing safety designs and launching a dedicated educational marketing campaign for e-bike riders. And so our projects touch every borough and every neighborhood. Our communications and public messaging must do the same. And again, this is why we work really hard to promote events like Car Free Earth Day in summer streets. And again, Car Free Earth Day is an annual car free event hosted by the DOT. On the Saturday before or after Car Free Earth Day, programming is presented at signature locations, and we work with different partners to bring different types of activations across the city. And again, for a citywide campaign to neighborhood events, the agency is taking every opportunity we can to educate and inform New Yorkers on the importance of safety when it comes to transportation. As the city remains focused on reimagining the use of our public streets, we will continue to also promote biking encouragement campaigns like our My Bike, My City campaign, which we launched a few months ago, which is a campaign that is seeking to promote cycling among women, girls, transgenders, and gender expansive New Yorkers. And this would all not be possible without you all sitting here, and your outlets help us reach the audiences across the city. So again, thank you for that. And we'll take questions.
Before that, I want to acknowledge Kenny Placencia. Tomas mentioned Car Free Day in Summer Street. Kenny is again working together with Tomas and the whole team, who is in charge also of those events, Summer Street and Car Free Earth Day. And I think before any question, if you don't mind, would you mind to call you? I want for you to hear from someone who is also, not even though she's also connected with one of the media, but also she's one of those who have lost, members of her family as part of the Vision Zero. I think it's good that we also hear, the personal piece about, I know that as you're listening to this campaign, always go back to those years. So if you don't mind to share with everyone about how important and how hard it was for you to deal with the loss.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. I'm Lizzie Rahman, and my son, Asif Rahman, a 22 years old, vibrant young man, talented young man, was killed on Queens Boulevard in 2008. It's been a long time. Ever since my son died on Queens Boulevard, I went to visit right after his funeral, and I was surprised and shocked to see that there were no bike lanes on Queens Boulevard. And I started a campaign to get bike lanes on Queens Boulevard to save other lives, keep saving other moms from the agony of losing their children. So it took time. And during our campaign, I got a lot of support from then council member Ydanis Rodriguez and other council members and Mayor de Blasio and other elected officials. And finally, it took time, but we got bike lanes on Queens Boulevard. And as Commissioner Rodriguez just mentioned, that there are no deaths on Queens Boulevard now, because after the first phase of redesigning on Queens Boulevard was done, and it was dubbed as the Boulevard of Hope. So I hope that you all will spread the news that how important it is to drive cars at a lower speed. We fought for the speed limit to go down from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. And now with Sammy's law, I'm with Families for Safe Streets. Now with Sammy's law, the speed limit is going to go down even more in dangerous areas, intersections. So anyway, thanks for hearing me, and I appreciate Commissioner Rodriguez for letting me speak. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I wish that I can speak in all the language, but I can't. Only can beside English and of course Spanish is my native language. So I'm going to say a few words en un minuto, en 1 minute en Spanish. Estamos aquí en una campaña muy importante que educar a los choferes sobre reducir la velocidad. Esto es parte de las 3E de Vision Zero. La primera es engineer, rediseñar la carretera para que sean seguros. La segunda es educacional y la tercera es enforcement. Enforcement es con la policía, comisionado Cabán, con Chief Rivera, asegurando de que los choferes cuando estén en la calle o estemos en la calle, que andemos respetando en la velocidad establecida y que aquellos que no lo hagan, que sepan que hay repercusiones. También usamos los speed cameras y usamos los red light cameras. Estamos trabajando con Albany para renovar las cámaras y que se nos permitan tener más. Y esto es parte de un esfuerzo que estamos haciendo. La 3S nos ha ayudado a lograr grandes cambios. Logramos tener 23 el año con los números más bajos de peatones muertos producto de ser chocados en los últimos 110 años, fuera del año del COVID. Entonces, lo que vamos a seguir tomando esta campaña a otros niveles, y le estamos pidiendo a toda nuestra gente, líderes de las iglesias, pastores, reverendos, quienes estén dirigiendo congregaciones deportivas, que lleven el mensaje a los choferes, reduzcan la velocidad. Le estamos pidiendo a todos los medios que no solamente sean parte de la campaña que estamos poniendo, sino también de que ellos cojan el micrófono, cojan la pluma, cojan el blog y hablen por algún minuto educando a los choferes, pidiéndoles que reduzcan la velocidad. Por la primera vez en la ciudad de Nueva York se establecieron que la violencia de vehículos es igual que una violencia regular en la ciudad. Y es por eso que hace meses, 2 meses atrás, few months ago, que el alcalde decidió que en los datos que recoge la policía toda la semana, el de data de violencia también es evaluada por ellos. So, for the first time, New York City on the mayor guidance decide that traffic violence is equal as any type of violence. And that's why with the constant, which is the system that the NYPD do to look at the data of violence every week, for the first time in the history of New York City, now crashes, violence are also included in NYPD in order for them to continue increasing the level of involvement to go after reckless drivers. So with that, I also want to say thank you to Love Malone from Malone, who's here, Love here. She's the one that this time around, they are doing the Vision Zero campaign, as you know, led by the Office of Any Community Media. There's a system that is in place that in each campaign, you go through the system, different institutions that they already been selected by DCAS. They do the campaign, and this particular one is done by you guys. So thank you for this great job too. Gracias a todos. Y ahora, now we want to open for any question.
Mi nombre es Eduardo Vázquez, de Chorro Grande, Canal América, con Frank Young. ¿Qué medidas se van a tomar para los que hacen delivery en bicicleta? Que a veces una persona puede estar conduciendo normal, entonces las bicicletas se estrellan o van en un carril que no deben estar o van en la acera. ¿Qué medidas tiene el Departamento de Transporte para ese tipo de situación?
Gracias por la pregunta. Lo voy en inglés. The question is about a scooter, e-bike in the sidewalk. What are we doing with that situation? Y esa es una pregunta que, gracias por preguntarla, es una pregunta que cuando el alcalde de Ydanis hace los town hall meetings en diferentes comunidades, esa pregunta siempre está presente. Y nosotros sabemos que tenemos que hacer más. Lo primero es de que el alcalde en el reporte de la ciudad, de State of the City, anunció a principios de año que la ciudad va a crear una oficina de sustainability, que va a jugar una parte importante en lo que es la organización de la industria de los e-bike, sabiendo que hay parte de ello que incluye a la Departamento de Consumer Affairs, porque ellos son los que han estado haciendo parte de enforcement también, junto con la policía, incluye a los bomberos también. Por parte de nosotros como DOT, entonces la decisión final es de que esa oficina nueva que se va a crear va a estar bajo DOT. O sea que nosotros, todos los aspectos, cosas que ya estamos haciendo, trabajamos bastante con los deliveristas, porque son un camino de dos vías. Como yo decía anteriormente, ¿por qué hay tantos deliveristas? ¿Por qué cogen por la acera? Porque algunas veces no hay una infraestructura todavía construida en la ciudad, donde ellos pueden estar seguros para llevar la comida que nosotros pedimos. Entonces, no estamos, de nuevo, lo que estoy describiendo, yo no estoy diciendo que lo estamos justificando, lo que estoy diciendo es por qué está ocurriendo. Entonces, uno es de que estamos construyendo infraestructura. Y algunas veces, cuando yo era concejal, trabajé por una línea de bicicleta en Dyckman y la comunidad quería comerme. Porque es una cultura que la gente dice, no, la carretera es para los carros. Bueno, pero si no construimos esos espacios que sean seguros para ellos y para las otras personas, vamos a mirar cuando yo pongo una orden de comida que les pida que me llegue rápido, si yo fuera el deliverista, yo voy a ir por donde sea más rápido también. So we are, estamos trabajando en lo educacional, estamos trabajando con, como dijo Tomás, Get Smart Before You Start. Es una campaña que nosotros hicimos el video, que educándolo a ellos, porque muchas de las personas que mueren montando nosotros en los peatones tenemos un número bien bueno. No queremos que muera una persona. We don't want one person to die. But 23 we have lowest numbers of pedestrian fatalities. El número fue más alto en 3 áreas. Personas que andan en bicicleta. The number where Vision Zero got so high is 3 areas. One, those who are using e-bike. 30 cyclists lost their life last year. 27 of them, they were using e-bike.
How many?
27. Sorry, 23.
23,000?
30 cyclists lost their life last year. 23, they were using e-bike. And 7 of them, they were not hit by no vehicle. They fall and they hit a wall. So that's why this campaign that we are doing, when we say get smart before you start, is because what we have seen that there's a pattern of the numbers of cyclists using e-bike, unfortunately losing their life, but we have seen that it could be that they had to learn better how to maneuver, how to accelerate, how to use the brake. So that's what campaign. But in the back of the pump car, And Jose or Juan, anybody of you help me to see if someone can bring some palm cards. If we don't have it, I don't.
We have some in the front, I think some folks.
Yeah.
took
So si
some.
tenemos, okay. So as you can see, esa es la palm card que está en un video, pero también en la parte de atrás de esa misma palm card, uno es a la persona que la usa. But in the back, we also put the message about si usted anda una bicicleta eléctrica o una bicicleta, use un helmet. Dos, look for senior citizen. Look for pedestrian. Third, don't use a bike in the sidewalk. Entonces estamos haciendo la parte educativa. Estamos trabajando con el comisionado Cabán y Chief Rivera para la parte del enforzamiento. Porque si no hacemos el ser humano, si no ve que hay consecuencias, lo sigue haciendo. Entonces estas dos cosas las estamos haciendo. Y lo tercero es que estamos organizando la oficina de sustainability, que va a estar una oficina bajo nosotros también. So we're taking, this work very personal because we can make our street safer for everyone. For those who use e-bike, because the other thing is also that with the e-bike, is that how are we getting those boxes that we order through Amazon, UPS, and FedEx? In the past, there used to be those trucks, right, in front of your building. Not anymore, right? Now you get to see, I see in Inwood, like Amazon and other, they do the double parking with a big truck. They take like a 2 parking spots, so that they use it for those delivery, for those who work in the truck, to move those boxes from there to the residential building. So what we are doing also is doing the last mile. In the last mile, which also another initiative, we are letting those big companies to use a space from where they can bring the trucks, but from there, we want from them to use the smallest vehicle, ideally electric, and also to use pedal assisted bike. The pedal assisted bike son un triciclo de los países de nosotros cuando éramos chamaquitos. Like, in our country, the pedal assisted bike used to be, we call it triciclo in DR. We had it for decades in our country, right? Those 3-wheel bike to deliver. So here we invented, but in many countries that we come from, we've been using it for centuries. So what we are doing right now is also passing the rule that now we allow 4-wheel instead of 3. So the bike lane being widened in 2. 10th Avenue, 3rd Avenue, and now 2nd Avenue, we are also working on widening the bike lane so that they can be used for those who want to bike for pleasure, but also for those who need to use pedal assisted bike to respond to the high value.
Just quickly, we have time for about 2 to 3 more questions, but then we will have time to kind of go to each person individually, and you guys can do a one-on-one with the commissioner for a few more minutes. But
Let me respect seniority first, so back there, and then I go back here.
Comisionado, vemos que usted en la campaña está enfatizando en los carros y en las bicicletas. Sin embargo, en ningún momento se ha mencionado los motores. Muchos lo utilizan para llevar deliveries a las casas también, pero otros ya lo están utilizando como medio de transporte y ellos no tienen control en las calles, inclusive no respetan ni la luz roja ni los stop signs. ¿Se ha tomado alguna medida con eso para controlar esa situación? Porque yo he visto también que han estropeado ya personas en las calles, especialmente adultas, que no pueden caminar rápido. Esa es una pregunta. La otra es si pueden tomar algunas medidas, inclusive tengo muchos videos y fotografías de autobuses, especialmente en la calle 178 y Broadway. Los autobuses que vienen del Bronx se paran en la parada de los autobuses 100 y 7. Ya he visto que las personas para tomar esos dos vehículos tienen que prácticamente irse al medio de la calle y han sido, inclusive hubo una señora que está estropeada porque las guaguas del Bronx se paran a esperar su turno ahí en la 178, en esa parada de la 100 y la 7. Si se pueden tomar algunas medidas.
So I think that's 2 good questions. One, and again, la voy a responder en español también. The question ought to be about, a motorcycle. And especially now that is warming. You know, that's where more people come out with the motorcycle. Y la otra pregunta es about, you know, the bus lane. In this case, he mentioned about 178 in Inwood, where some buses from the Bronx stop there, but also other people are parking in that area. So, la primera parte con los motocicletas es de que nosotros hicimos una campaña que la hicimos junto con la policía, Chief Rivera, que es educando a los, primeramente mandándole mensajes, porque en esto no es el popular. Cuando estamos en este trabajo es hacer lo correcto. Lo de populismo se lo dejamos a otras personas jugar con eso, pero en my case about leaving the agency in a better place for future generations to come. And I don't compromise safety. I had 2 daughters, 17 and 11, and I have seen over and over. There was one of the cases that I remember that I mentioned because you've been fighting with us for years, this young person, Rivera. Rivera, el papá de él era Héctor Rivera Yamasá, que era un poeta dominicano que tenía un programa en la radio, en City College, en los 90, y el hijo de él fue una de las víctimas. He just came from college, graduated, and his mom was, you know, she helped her to prepare his office as a first job, you know, with a college degree. And that day, the Christmas Eve, he was crossing Mochulo Parkway. And the drivers, you know, he was so fast and he killed him in the scene. And you could see in Fox 5, I showed the video in one of the hearings where hours after, you could see the driver, you know, getting gas and putting the car in fire to get rid of all the evidence. So this is something that when you hear one case, so many. And I know that being here and listening to this story, yo sé, do you change the perspective? Con los motores, yo pasé una ley cuando era concejal sobre los reckless drivers, those who are willing and speeding. My law established that someone that is called by willing and speeding, they're subject to 6 months in jail and $3,000. So we're working with the NYPD to be sure that people know that there's consequences. That's one. But the second thing that we are doing also, educating people how to ride safe. Y they want to use a motorcycle. Nosotros, ¿quiénes montar un motor en los países de nosotros? Ninguno. Porque ahora que estamos aquí que no montamos motor, un 70, ¿verdad que sí? I know many of us, we are, you know, we come from places that we also ride motorcycle, right? So it's nice when you get into the front of the back of the motorcycle, you enjoy the air, you enjoy the view. It's all about doing it safe. So hicimos una campaña en la que nosotros estamos diciéndole, primeramente, decía que una de las áreas que nosotros tuvimos más muertes fueron ciclistas. La segunda área fueron personas montando motores. You know, that was one of the second areas that we lost more people. It was about people using motorcycle. So most of those, unfortunately, people that we lost, riding a motorcycle that they lost their life, they didn't have the proper license. That's one.
Wow.
So, and that's why in Randall's Island, we also work with an advocate group, teaching those that had a motorcycle, one, what they should dress when they had a motorcycle, something with color, how for them to be safe when they use the motorcycle, and third, how not to abuse the use of motorcycle. Entonces estamos haciendo un trabajo que nunca va a parar, que es, uno, dejándole saber que hay consecuencias, dos, que cuando la temperatura se pone más caliente, salen más, y que la policía is looking at them, para aquellos que quieren apropiarse de la calle. With the buses, la respuesta con la guagua es, uno, work with us in the MTA, y ya estamos expandiendo los tickets, la cámara automática que dan tickets a aquellos que bloquean la línea de autobuses. Y el que no quiere un ticket, no se entra en línea de guagua, porque eso es sagrado. Sí, pero de nuevo, eso es si hay una del Bronx que se para ahí a las 7 de las 100, ya eso más que todo algo de programación de la MTA. Sorry, let me.
Hello, Commissioner. Monica Adamski. I'm going to sit so I don't interrupt. Rampa TV and radio, and we're in Greenpoint, where we are reaching Polish American community. Thank you for wonderful cooperation with DOT. I would like to get this campaign going. We have not received it. But my questions are about Sammy's Law, as you mentioned. Do you know which parts of the city will be considered those that will have the lower speed limit if if they are decided to change the speed limit? And the second question, I know that also DOT was urging drivers before Memorial Day weekend that there's going to be enforcement on driving impaired, meaning drugs. And I know it's a big priority, but can you also say if that includes like driving under marijuana? Now it's legal, and this is a big concern for many, that drivers are driving under influence of marijuana, and how are you gonna deal with that? Is that more NYPD, or your campaign is gonna cover that too?
Okay, so first we're going to translate your question in Spanish that people also know. La pregunta es dos cosas. Uno es la SAMI Law, que es una ley que el Estado aprobó. Cómo se va a implementar, cómo se va a tomar decisión la implementación de reducir las velocidades. Y lo segundo es la campaña que hicimos en el Memorial Day Weekend, que dejándole saber a los choferes que si van a tomarse unos cuantos tragos, que busquen un chofer designado, porque si manejan, una de las formas que un chofer contribuye más a que nadie muera es cuando está intoxicado también. Entonces la campaña. So, la pregunta es si eso también incluye a las personas que están usando marihuana. So the more easy one is the second one, the answer is no. Like we focus in this case about the part related to those who are intoxicated with the alcohol, but of course NYPD, they also looking for anyone that is abusing, any the law that we have in the city. With the SAMI law, first of all, SAMI law is una victoria bien grande. La Amy Cohen junto con el grupo de Family for Safe Street trabajaron duro para darle el poder a la ciudad, de poder, they work so hard, giving the city the power to reduce to 20 miles per hour and reduce even to 10 miles per hour around the school. So this is what it is. The law is not in effect yet. It will be in effect after June. Second, what this law does is that it gives more flexibility. First of all, the 20 miles per hour is not in all city. It's not for roadway that they have 3 lanes. So that's one thing that we should know, the way how that it was passed in Albany. So it's not that the city can say, here we are reducing. The council has to act, is the first thing. In order to do like a reduce from 25 to 20 miles per hour citywide, it is a decision that the city council, based on the state law, they have to pass the bill. Mm-hmm. So we need to work with the council with that part. The second piece about that, the SAMI law gives DOT more flexibility, where we right now being able to reduce the speed limit around the school. Because before the SAMI law, in order for DOT to reduce the speed limit around the school, DOT also had to do some other work, like changing a signal, doing a speed bump, doing a crosswalk. So from now on, DOT, we have more flexibility, and we will be ready to use it since day one. So lo que tiene que ver con la reducción, la SAMI lo que establece fue que la ciudad tiene el poder de reducir a 20 millas por hora en la ciudad completa, pero no en avenidas que tengan 3 líneas, sino en las que tengan de 2 o menos. Pero para reducirse citywide a 20 millas por hora, el consejo tiene primero que pasarlo y luego DOT lo implementa. Lo tercero que hace que ustedes miran cerca de las escuelas, you have seen it, that the speed limit around some school is say 20 miles per hour. Pero ahora DOT va a tener toda la flexibilidad de poder reducir los errores de las escuelas sin tener que hacer otro trabajo de reconstrucción. Vamos a coger 2 preguntas más, como Tomás dijo, y después entonces William.
Just 2 more, but after we do those 2, we'll still be around. So any questions directed to MOECM, please feel free to reach out to JD. Any marketing questions, Cindy Gordon is our marketing manager, so you'll probably interact with her many times. Feel free to ask us questions on marketing, and then William, of course, if you want to do any type of interview or any follow-up, feel free to contact William as well. But we'll do 2 more, and then we'll still be around to just discuss with you guys.
Saludos a todos. Muchos me conocen, Jorge Rodriguez de Canal América, CEO de Canal América. Hemos visto como muy efectivo que ha hecho el Departamento de Transporte de la Ciudad de Nueva York eventos masivos para también hacer llegar esta publicidad que se está colocando para ayudar a la gente, a nuestros ciudadanos, para hacer más efectiva la ciudad y menos muertes. ¿Qué eventos tiene proyectado la ciudad, el Departamento de Transporte, masivos, con orquestas, en parques y eso, para también hacer llegar ese mensaje a todos los asistentes que asisten, porque nosotros también como canal nos interesa hacer llegar este mensaje y ser parte de estos eventos.
Yeah. And the question is, what other event is DOT doing? You know, broader with big masses, with big numbers. Summit Street, va a ser el primero. The next one is going to be Summit Street. Summit Street, again led by Kenny Plasencia is here, Valder. He's the one who is in charge of Summit Street under the leadership with Tomas and the whole team there too. So they are the one who is working, identifying all those groups. Last year we had Rudy Perez, Mexico en tu Corazón, Grand Concourse, and Nia Fodder. And we closed for the first time Summit Street for Grand Concourse from Oshulo Parkway to Trimming, coming back to, you know, similar area, but also in Manhattan, Summit Street used to be only from Brooklyn Bridge to 79th Street. Now, last year and this year again, we're going up to 125th. So, and when we look about Car Free Earth Day, again, that they did it, like this year, we had 240 activations, different from like 60 that we had last year. It means 240 activation, mean group from the South Asian, from the Jewish, from the Caucasian, from the Latinos, you know, from Afro-American, everyone bringing the culture to the street. Because that's my goal. I know, it's like the movie Habitat, when she say, I see you, right? That's the line I see in Habitat. Sometimes we work hard, but we have not been seen. And sometimes we've been told about, oh, we, the recent means those of us that came here in family in the last 75 years. Because people look at some of us still as, where are you from? Like you are not from another country too. Like Irish were discriminated as Black and Latino being discriminated, right? Jewish were discriminated are the same. You know, Japanese, you know, Chinese, Asian, Muslim, LGBTQ. So for me, again, being leading this agency is pushing this agency to bring to a public space the celebration of all culture. And that's why Jose Reyes, who is in charge of connecting among his portfolio, connecting community with NWBE, but also all immigrant community. They're knocking the door, not on the Afro-American community, brothers and sisters only, but those who came from Congo, from Mali, from Nigeria, you know, from Ghana. So come and say, and other come from Africa, say, bring the culture here. So yes, we're doing like a Summer Street is a big celebration that DOT is doing, and in each of those avenues, then we also have distribution of helmets, but also campaigning, educating people, and of course, any one of you that think about that you can put together a good event, connect it with Kenny, and he will follow with you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for the.
So I try to be diverse as a question, and just say, and sorry, I know que it's mucha pregunta, but you know, with this question, I'm gonna stop here, because I know that what I say and the question, I think that we took answer for most of the question that you may ask. So I've been trying to be sure that, you know, we represent people from different communities. Like if there's anyone that is not from those communities that already been speaking that question, you will have the preference, because I want to have everyone included.
All right, one more time. Thank you, Commissioner, for putting this together with the Mayor's Office and the media. The question is, I have two questions. You said it very well, that Queens Boulevard used to be the Boulevard of Death. Now it's the Boulevard of Hope. Me driving there sometime, knowing that the reason why we know that there's camera all over. There's not 2 minutes you drive there, you don't see the camera. And I'm sure it's happening in Montreal Parkway. Are you guys planning on doing it more different places, different neighborhoods? So you will not just be to places like Queens Boulevard? That's my first question. Second question is, it's good that we're getting the advertisement for Vision Zero, but for Get Smart, most of the new asylum seekers who are in town using bike lines and so don't understand what the rules are. Sometimes we're doing it, letting them know, guys, relax yourself, because there was one of them last time have a interaction with the police, not knowing. So are you guys planning to do not just Vision Zero advertisement, but Get Smart and so on and so forth? Thank you.
That's yes. And yeah, the whole city should be similar to Queens Boulevard. And listen, I did the bus lane at 181st. La línea de Guagua, la 181. And that's if you have been in Northern Manhattan, that bus connects, those who go from Broadway in Manhattan to the Bronx. And I remember, I connected with people. I don't care if people have different opinion than what I have. As I say, I'm not here to be popular, here to be someone that people know. I can take the word from Ydanis, I can trust Ydanis. So once after I was a commissioner, I did a bus lane when I was a council member. So there was a taxi driver friend of mine who asked me one day, so Ydanis, now that you are a commissioner, probably you can, change those bus lanes, right? Because now the bus lane means that if you go from Broadway to Amsterdam to the Bronx, if the sign say you cannot keep going straight, you have to make the first right. So I told the drivers, I said, do you want me to give you the politician answer? Or do you want me to give you the real answer? No, I know that you're gonna change it. Our people, I don't know, different community, but our people is about, if you give it 3 seconds, they put what they believe is the solution for the problem. So they don't give up, right? That's how I know our people are. So for him was about, he was committed for me to say that I will change it, that now driver will be able to go straight from Broadway to the Bronx. And this was my answer to that brother. I say, with the bus lane that we did on 21st, it's safer for everyone. Yes, if you come from Broadway to the Bronx, through Amsterdam, you will have, as a driver, you have to make the first right. Then you go to 180, make a left, go to Amsterdam, and then go to the Bronx. How many more minutes do you think it would take? I don't know, probably 5 more minutes. Say, yeah, you know what? You will be able to still cross. It will take you 5 more minutes. If it's summer, you have a good air condition. If it's winter, you have a good heat, and you can play nice music. But whoever got out from the one train at St. Nicholas Avenue and 181st, that was waiting 40 minutes for the bus, 13 and 36, and with the bus lane, we cut the time from 40 to 15. I'm sorry. I do policy for the majority of the people.
Yeah.
So the message is that, they gotta be more Queens Boulevard. And that's why, and I know that sometimes when I tell my team, bring me everyone to a run. It's not about, people would think about, well, we live, and that those of you who deal with this marketing the traditional way, is about, well, if I-97, if we pay $300,000, they will give you this number, so if we do this to El Vacilón, they will do these numbers. If we do New York 1, and everyone thinking about, how much do you have for this campaign? So I can give you this number with spot. I want you to be the spokesperson with a good price. Be happy with yourself. Because people have been, how do you feel now as a commissioner? Say, this is the best place to be. Because when I'm there with myself, I know that I work hard for people to walk in our city, and especially the most vulnerable, our children, our senior citizens, to be safe. So I'm preaching you with that. Help us. You know what? And again, from the main one, from them alone, you have your client. You have your own relationship. Get your friend. Help us with this.